Good morning, my name is Angelica Thanasopoulos and welcome to our virtual commemoration of the second of Greece's national days, the 28th of October, which marks its 80th anniversary this year. While we can't all gather for an assembly, today we will watch and listen to a range of items to mark the significant day. The 28th of October is an important national day for the Greeks. It commemorates the heroic stand of the Greek people against the invading forces of the Axis powers during the early stages of World War II.
Good morning, my name is Costa Magiris. On the morning of the 28th of October 1940, one of Mussolini's generals in Greece demanded that his troops occupy certain strategic positions in Greece. The Greek Prime Minister Metaxas replied no, Ohi. Freedom was of ultimate importance to the Greeks and they were prepared to fight for it. Despite Metaxas' Ohis, the Italians attacked through the northern borders of Albania and the Pindus Mountains of Greece. The conditions were difficult. The Greeks' familiarity with a rocky landscape helped, despite the fact they were significantly outnumbered. Women and older members of the community helped where they could.
This 6-month battle became a symbol of resistance and gave hope to all Allied countries. It also delayed Hitler's advance into Russia until winter. Today, we remember the fight for freedom and democracy, not just for Greek people, but for all people.
Please enjoy the following items from members of our school community.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's assembly. Today, we gather virtually to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the events that took place in Greece on the 28th of October, 1940. A significant day which draws Greece into World War II. The declaration of Ohi by the then Prime Minister Metaxas and the ensuing 6 months battle to defend Greece against the Axis power, which was led by Germany, and it also included Italy, Japan, as well as Bulgaria, Hungary, Romania and Yugoslavia, became a symbol of hope and courage around the world. The tenacity shown by the Greek people during this campaign gave the Allies time to regroup and forced Hitler and his troops back into Russia, which changed the course of the war in Europe. Let us take some time to reflect and remember all those who made the sacrifices so that we could enjoy a free world. Lest we forget.
Autumn 1940. The free world watched in fear as Hitler's tyranny consumed most of Europe. One by one, countries surrendered or quickly fell to Hitler's seemingly unstoppable Axis forces. Then at 3 a.m. on October 28, 1940, a representative of the Axis forces arrived at the home of Greek Prime Minister Ioannis Metaxas and demanded his surrender, or else his country would face an immediate and brutal military invasion. Metaxas defied expectations and replied with a single word, Ohi. No. Less than 3 hours later, the Axis forces descended on Greece, expecting it to quickly fall.
Και όταν κατά στις 10 η ώρα ξαγνάνησαν 9 αεροπλάνα ιταλικά, τότε καταλάβαμε και βομβάρισαν τον Πειραιά, το λιμάνι του Πειραιά, και τότε καταλάβαμε ότι κάτι γίνεται. Και αμέσως να πούμε, διαδόθηκε τότε να πούμε ότι γίνεται πόλεμο.
The Axis invasion was as brutal as it was sudden. The Hellenic army was heavily outnumbered and outgunned, but rather than falling back to a defensive position, the Greeks shocked the world by launching a counterattack. Despite their superior arms and numbers, the Axis forces were forced to retreat. The Greeks maintained their pursuits, chasing the invading forces back to Albania. By mid-December, just 6 weeks after the invasion had begun, the Hellenic army would occupy nearly a quarter of Albania, immobilizing over 500,000 Axis troops. This led Winston Churchill to say, "Hence we will not say that Greeks fight like heroes, but that heroes fight like Greeks." News of Greece's victory flooded the radio airwaves and covered the front pages of newspapers around the globe. A grateful world celebrated. No one expected such a small nation to stop the seemingly unstoppable Axis forces. It was the first Allied victory of the war, and an act that inspired and gave hope to the world.
Συνοδούσε, τρέχαν, αγκάλιαζε ο Ζιστανού, οι καμπάνες σε βοήθησαν. Και στο σπίτι μου απέναντι ήταν μια εκκλησία, ήταν η καμπάνα. Στο άλλο χωριό που ήταν εκκλησίες και καμπάνες χτυπούσαν συνεχώς και φωνιάζανε «Ελευθερωθήκαμε, ελευθερωθήκαμε, ελευθερωθήκαμε».
President Franklin Roosevelt said of Greece's actions, "When the entire world had lost all hope, the Greek people dared to question the invincibility of the German monster, raising against it the proud spirit of freedom." Greece forced Hitler to change his timeline and set back the attack on Russia by 2 or more months. This allowed Russia crucial time to recover from earlier losses. Russia's Field Marshal said, "The Greek people delayed the German divisions during the time they could bring us to our knees." As well, Greece forced Hitler into the debilitating Russian winter, which marked the beginning of his end. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill said, "If there had not been the virtue and courage of the Greeks, we do not know which the outcome of World War II would have been." Because Greece was the first to stop the Axis forces and restore world hope, and because Greece's delay of Hitler inflicted a wound that would become fatal, this was one of the most courageous and consequential David versus Goliath victories for freedom and democracy in the modern world. The great legacy of the Greek people is carried on today by those modern-day Davids among us, who in the spirit of Ohi Day continue the fight for freedom and democracy around the world.
Αθάνατη Ελλάδα, αθάνατη Ελλάδα μας ο κόσμο ξαξουμένο. Όλοι στις χαρές θεοί έχουν πρικισμένοι. Γαλάζιος είναι ουρανός. Γαλάζια η θάλασσά σου. Γαλάζια και η σημαία σου. Το θείον ευρού μας. Χαρίστε ελληνοκούα του έθνους η ελπίδα. Χαρίστε για τη εχθρού. Της έντοξης πατρίδα.
Της Ελλάδας τα παιδιά. Στα βουνά της Αλβανίας, της Ελλάδας τα παιδιά. Πολεμούνε το εχθρό μας, όλα τους με μια καρδιά.
Πολεμούνε σαν λιοντάρια προς την πρώτη τη γραμμή. Απ' το χώμα μας μην πάρει ο εχθρός μας πιθαμή. Και προσφέρουν τη ζωή τους για τιμή και ελευθεριά. Δεν φοβούνται ούτε δολιά, ούτε χιόνι και βοριά. Και την πείνα τους ξεχνούνε πάντα για τη ελευθεριά.
Ζήτω η Ελλάδα, ζήτω η ελευθεριά.
Hello, my name is Rudra, and here is my original story inspired by the events of the 20th of October, 1940. Drenched. Drenched in water, drenched in snow, drenched in mud. I thought war would be more glorious, but it turns out, well, it's kind of tiring and extremely dangerous. We're currently in defensive positions against the Italian fascists. All that I can hear in my ears is the deafening sound of kaboom. Duck! A shell just fell a few meters short of me. I'm now covered in soil after the shell exploded. Some of our Greek men fell backwards at the blast, wounds permeating their shirts and the rest of their clothing. The nurses and doctors quickly took the wounded to a nearby first aid, and I gripped my gun, ready to give my life for the Greek motherland. The fight has been going on for months now, and without a clock or anyone to tell the time, I might well be underestimating the time I spent here. That stupid headache again. Gunpowder sprayed onto my face as another shell exploded, killing a woman who had taken control of the machine gun. I dropped my rifle and ran through the trench, bumping into others, exchanging each other's pain as we do so. But this is not just a fight for our government, our rights, our freedoms, no. It is for our motherland we call Greece. Our Prime Minister Metaxas made it clear that the Axis powers cannot control certain key naval positions in Greece, and then the war began. I gripped the handles of the machine gun as the Italian men ran through no man's land. It was a tough terrain. The mountains here in northern Greece are very difficult terrain. Snow and mud can slow one's attack on the trenches, and that was an advantage to us Greeks here in defensive positions. Aim, fire. Aim, fire. One bullet and that's it. One bullet is needed to turn a person inside out. One of the Italian men held a grenade. Before I shoot him, he throws the grenade and it lands right next to me.
Δυο παιδιά απ' το βραχώρι πήρανε βουνά και όρη για τιμή, για ελευθεριά. Όμως του εχθρού οι σφαίρες τους σταμάτησαν τις μέρες και δεν θα γυρίσουν πια. Τον αγέλα στο κοιμάται και τη λευτεριά θυμάται, τα λοξάγρυπνο στο πλάι, το μαχαίρι του τροχάει. Τον αγέλα στο κοιμάται και τη λευτεριά θυμάται, τα λοξάγρυπνο στο πλάι, το μαχαίρι του τροχάει. Έστειλαν οι βαθμοφόροι το μαντάτο στο βραχώρι και κλαιγάν οι κοπέλιες. Επρασίνησε το χώμα και δεν γύρισαν ακόμα να τεινάξουν τις ελιές. Τον αγέλα στο κοιμάται και τη λευτεριά θυμάται, τα λοξάγρυπνο στο πλάι, το μαχαίρι του τροχάει. Τον αγέλα στο κοιμάται και τη λευτεριά θυμάται, τα λοξάγρυπνο στο πλάι, το μαχαίρι του τροχάει.
We hope you enjoyed our commemorative program, Lest We Forget.
Lest we forget.